Welcome back to Catch It, A New Perception. My name is Katuk. I think about some of the things that we have talked about in recent episodes. What's your favorite color? How do you perceive the world? How do you perceive yourself? What is it like to know that you're beautiful inside and you never act like it? Are you capable of a knowing without coming across arrogant? I use beauty as an example because we talked about it in a recent episode. What if it's your intelligence? And you know how intelligent you are, whether you're book smart or street smart or whatever type of intelligence, a spiritual intelligence. And anyone that you're around, you don't act like you're smarter than they are. You don't act as if you're better looking than they are, that you're more beautiful in essence than they are, than anyone is. You treat people as if you are equal to them, and you know there's something special inside of you. Each one of us is a unique manifestation of Creator. I believe that. And we're very similar. I don't know how many of you are coming up through your adolescence, or how many of you, when you were coming up through your adolescence, thought, I want to be different, just like everybody else does. Or, I want to be just like everybody else. I want to be able to fit in. And you felt like you were in a different position than where you actually acted. You acted a different way than you felt. As you mature into your adulthood, maybe mature into becoming an elder, wherever your maturity has taken you, have you learned to coincide with all of that? Where you're able to think and feel one and the same, or are they still unbalanced? I probably shared this on an episode of the podcast in the past. I remember someone one time, as I was beginning to change my life, and I'd spent a couple of years dedicated to making some changes in my life, and I was talking to someone who sat in some circles with me and was somewhat familiar with me, and I told him, I said, I want to be able to stand out, and I also want to be able to fit in. And this person smiled at me and said, you're doing a fabulous job, don't stop. And I felt like I was beginning to be able to become part of my essence. Are you able to do that today? Are you able to walk in a good way and know that you're beautiful inside and out, and you don't act like you're better looking than someone else, or you have an essence about you that is strong and healthy and someone else doesn't? How do you act around other people? Do you act like you're smarter than other people? Is that unattractive because of the way that your egotism comes out? What I found for myself is that when that comes in line, when my egotism is dropped and my confidence is risen, I become one with the Creator, with people around me, knowing that I'm just like them. You know, I listen to some music, and sometimes that music really brings me to a center that's healthy, because it reminds me that I'm just like everybody else. I'm not all that unique. In that one essence, each of us is a unique manifestation of Creator. And we are by far more similar than we are different. How do I find that fine line to be able to walk and be confident without egotism, without talking down to someone, without thinking down to someone? In other words, I might not verbally say something as if I'm talking down to them, but I'm thinking I'm smarter than everyone else in the room. I'm better looking than everyone else in the room. I have something that they don't have. I am somebody. Look at me. How do I leave all those thoughts behind, leave all that energy behind with confidence that I'm equal to everyone? Anyone that's two-spirited, equal to anyone who is heterosexual, equal to anyone of any different ethnicity than us, that we are all one. That people want to be loved. They want to be respected. Can you offer love, dignity, and respect to someone else and know that you deserve love, dignity, and respect? I like to use those as an example because I think that within those types of things that we become one. When we can receive love, dignity, or respect at any given moment, we feel good. When we offer love, dignity, or respect, we feel good. So we can give it or we can receive it in any given day without sarcasm. We've talked about how our subconscious doesn't know we're kidding when we use sarcasm. It layers into the subconscious. We create a self-esteem problem and we don't know that we've done that. We're unaware of the problems and the complications that come with all of that. How do we get to a point where we can just be one, just be okay with others, the way that we come across to them, our essence? How do we learn to do this? One thing that I've seen as I've been doing this podcast is people will reach out to me. They will have conversations with me in different ways and repeat things that I said. So in other words, they're finding a way to find dignity for themselves, to offer dignity to someone else, because they're taking a different action, because they have a new mantra, because that mantra that they're telling themselves quietly in their mind has changed. They have become confident in that mantra. They are confident in themselves, in that mantra that they're telling themselves. That whisper, that soft voice that comes through is saying something different than it was 3 seasons ago of this episode. They're hearing something different from themselves. This creates a whole new idea of who we are, where we're going to go, what we're going to do, how we're going to treat others, how we're going to treat ourselves. At what point does all of this change for you? At what point do you become the spiritual being that you want to become? When does it change? How does it change? Can you stay calm in adversity? When you're worked up inside, does that have to come out? Do you have a need for it to come out because you're so worked up inside? Or can you stay calm, change your way of thinking about it so that you realize You don't have to come off the way you once did. You don't have to say the things the way you once said them. Have you changed your terminology? Have you changed the way you see yourself? Once you change your terminology, your thinking will change, and when your thinking changes, how you feel changes. How much of this has happened in your life? Is it still a good idea without you taking action? If you go see a doctor and the doctor does an operation and they do some surgery and then they tell you about wound care and how to care for the wound where surgery was done, and you don't follow that instruction, and chances are they are more informed than they were even a generation ago, much less 3 or 4 generations ago. These people are more informed on how to take care of the wound. And you choose to not listen to them because you don't want to. It's too much work. It's not that big of a deal. Chances are you will not heal the same. If you are spiritually dying and you do not take the time to do the work, chances are you will not heal the same. You may not heal at all. What if when doing that wound care you get infected because you didn't do the wound care properly or at all? And when you're spiritually dying and you know that there's something that you could do because you've heard of some good ideas on how you can get spiritually healthy, and you choose to not do those things. If you don't take the action, you will not get the result that you need. At what point is this going to change in your life? Or will you continue to go through life as you do, wondering why things are the way that they are? You have options in your life. You can continue to live the way you once lived, or maybe you're one of these people that started listening to this podcast and it really inspired you and you really started to do some things different. And then you fell back into the way things used to be. Somehow you just stopped using that positive mantra. You stopped taking that positive action. And you were actually feeling different, and you were thinking different about your job or your family or your spouse or your kids or your parents or whoever it is that are your loved ones. You were feeling different about them. But now you're back to the way you were feeling, and you're frustrated and you're short with them and you don't have time for that, and whatever the situation may be. Get frustrated at work easier because things aren't going the way you think they should go. You think you have a better idea, but they don't follow through with your idea, whatever it might be. What if you just know that you had a good idea and they didn't take it, and that's okay? You're working for them, so now you can do what it is they want you to do, and you can be okay with that. It's a way to be able to find something that works for you. If it once worked, when you began to change your thinking or began to change your action and you began to feel different, I would suggest you get back to doing those things again. If you're doing yoga every day and you feel better and then you stop doing yoga, and now your body's tight and your back's kind of sore and you can't figure out why, but you're not doing yoga and you don't really want to because you don't feel like it. It's the same type of thing with this. It's an exercise that we must do to be able to change the way that we think. Looking forward to next time. Live in harmony with and use the bounty of the land to bring kindness to the world.